What's up, guys? This is Chris from DraftDashboard.com. Here are my DFS picks for NBA Friday, July 31st. These picks apply for DraftKings and FanDuel. Before I get started, please drop a like on this video and hit that red subscribe button and hit that bell icon so you don't miss our new videos. In this video, I'm going to go over my top picks for today's NBA slate. And if you stick around to the very end of this video, we'll use the Draft Dashboard tools to make a DFS lineup using the picks we just made. Okay guys, let's take a look at this 6-game main slate. So we got an early start here, so that's why I'm getting this video up early for you guys. Just remember, we've had a long break in the NBA. A lot has changed. So it's going to be nice to get a few games under our belt here to see what players are playing what minutes. But for right now, we're going to do the best we can to project it for you. So at point guard, I like Damian Lillard from the Portland Trail Blazers playing the Memphis Grizzlies, who have the 10th worst defense overall, and they give up the 9th most fantasy points to opposing point guards. Damian Lillard has averaged 47 fantasy points per game on the season, playing an average of 37 minutes per game with a 30% usage rate. He's projected at 46.4 fantasy points here tonight. That's 5.2 times value. He's 8,900 FanDuel salary and 400 more on DraftKings. Vegas thinks there's going to be 224 points scored in this game, so I like Damian Lillard here versus the Memphis Grizzlies. Another point guard I like is Ricky Rubio from the Phoenix Suns playing the Washington Wizards, who have the 3rd worst defense overall, and they give up the 4th most fantasy points to opposing point guards. Ricky Rubio has averaged 34.4 fantasy points per game on the season, playing an average of 32 minutes per game with a 20% usage rate. He's projected at 35.7 fantasy points here tonight. That's 5.5 times value. He's 6,500 FanDuel salary and 900 more on DraftKings. Vegas thinks there's going to be 224.5 points scored in this game, so I like Ricky Rubio here versus the Washington Wizards. Okay, who do we have at the shooting guard position? I like Luka Doncic for the Dallas Mavericks playing the Houston Rockets, who have the 7th worst defense overall and they're middle of the pack defending opposing shooting guards. Luka Doncic has averaged 52.5 fantasy points per game on the season, playing an average of 33 minutes per game with a 37% usage rate. He's projected at 55 fantasy points here tonight. That's 5.1 times value. He's 10,800 FanDuel salary and 300 less on DraftKings. Vegas thinks there's going to be 229.5 points scored in this game, so I like Luka Doncic here versus the Houston Rockets. Okay, here's a value play for you at shooting guard. I like Dillon Brooks from the Memphis Grizzlies playing the Portland Trail Blazers, who have the 5th worst defense overall, and they're middle of the pack defending opposing shooting guards. Dillon Brooks has averaged 24.7 fantasy points per game on the season, playing an average of 28 minutes per game with a 25% usage rate. He's projected at 24.2 fantasy points here tonight. That's 5.6 times value. He's 4,300 FanDuel salary and 800 more on DraftKings. So I like that FanDuel price. Vegas thinks there's going to be 224 points scored in this game, so I like Dillon Brooks here versus the Portland Trail Blazers. Okay, let's take a look at the small forward position. I like Giannis Antetokounmpo from the Milwaukee Bucks playing the Boston Celtics, who have a good defense overall, and they're middle of the pack defending opposing small forwards. Giannis Antetokounmpo has averaged 57.3 fantasy points per game on the season, playing an average of 31 minutes per game with a 38% usage rate. He's projected at 59.7 fantasy points here tonight. That's 5.6 times value. He's $10,700 FanDuel salary and $200 less on DraftKings. Vegas thinks there's going to be 218.5 points scored in this game. I think it's going to be a competitive game, so Giannis could get the full fourth quarter run here. So I like Giannis Antetokounmpo here versus the Boston Celtics. Real quick, guys, I got great news. For a limited time, we're offering a full 30-day trial to Draft Dashboard. You can try all of our DFS tools for all sports. You can try the Position Optimizer, where you can see the top players ranked for each position. And we added a new Player Trends tool, where you can see the top salary differences between FanDuel and DraftKings. It's a really good tool to help you pick out value for the site that you're playing on. Oh, and if you're tired of doing research every day, we just added a cheat sheet that shows hand-picked plays for the slate. No confusing stat lines, no headaches, just a simple cheat sheet that shows the absolute best players for your lineups. And on the other side of the ball, I like Jaylen Brown from the Boston Celtics playing the Milwaukee Bucks, who have a middle-of-the-pack defense overall, and they're middle-of-the-pack defending opposing small forwards. Jaylen Brown has averaged 33.3 fantasy points per game on the season, playing an average of 34 minutes per game with a 25% usage rate. He's projected at 28.2 fantasy points here tonight. That's 4.9 times value. He can definitely break 30 fantasy points. This guy's got some major upside. He's $5,800 FanDuel salary and $1,100 more on DraftKings. So I love that FanDuel price. So we know Vegas thinks there's going to be 218.5 points scored in this game. So I like Jaylen Brown here versus the Milwaukee Bucks. Okay, let's take a look at the power forward position. I like Kristaps Porzingis from the Dallas Mavericks playing the Houston Rockets, who have the 7th worst defense overall, and they give up the 9th most fantasy points to opposing power forwards. Kristaps Porzingis has averaged 39.9 fantasy points per game on the season, playing an average of 31 minutes per game with a 27% usage rate. He's projected at 44 fantasy points here tonight. That's 4.7 times value. He's $9,300 FanDuel salary and $700 less on DraftKings. So this is more of a DraftKings play for me. He's going to have more value over there on DraftKings, much lower price. Now I like this game because James Harden is going to keep this game close. Porzingis and Luka should get plenty of run. So I like Kristaps Porzingis here versus the Houston Rockets. Okay, now for probably the best value play on the slate on FanDuel, I like Richaun Holmes from the Sacramento Kings playing the San Antonio Spurs, who have the 8th worst defense overall, and they give up the 8th most fantasy points to opposing power forwards. Richaun Holmes has averaged 30.3 fantasy points per game on the season, playing an average of 29 minutes per game with a 16% usage rate. He's projected at 25 fantasy points here tonight. That's 6.4 times value. He's only $3,900 FanDuel salary and $1,200 more on DraftKings. Vegas thinks there's going to be 220.5 points scored in this game, so I like Richaun Holmes here versus the San Antonio Spurs. Okay, moving on to the center position. I like Nikolai Vucevic from the Orlando Magic playing the Brooklyn Nets, who have the 12th worst defense overall, and they give up the 2nd most fantasy points to opposing centers. Nikolai Vucevic has averaged 42.1 fantasy points per game on the season, playing an average of 33 minutes per game with a 26% usage rate. He's projected at 43.7 fantasy points here tonight. That's 5.3 times value. He's $8,300 FanDuel salary and $200 more on DraftKings. Vegas thinks there's going to be 211.5 points scored in this game, so I like Nikolai Vucevic here versus the Brooklyn Nets. And here's a value play on DraftKings, mid-range play on FanDuel. I like Thomas Bryant from the Washington Wizards playing the Phoenix Suns, who have a middle-of-the-pack defense overall, but they give up the 5th most fantasy points to opposing centers. Thomas Bryant has averaged 25.6 fantasy points per game on the season, playing an average of 24 minutes per game with an 18% usage rate. He's projected at 24.2 fantasy points here tonight. That's 4.6 times value. Much better value play on DraftKings because he's $5,300 FanDuel salary, but he's $700 less on DraftKings. Vegas thinks there's going to be 224.5 points scored in this game, so I like Thomas Bryant here versus the Phoenix Suns. If you want to try all these daily fantasy tools for yourself, click the link in the description below this video or just go to draftdashboard.com. You can use our DFS lineup optimizer to build quality lineups using our picks and your own custom player pool. Click the link in the description below this video and try all these daily fantasy tools right now. Thanks so much for watching. Oh, and don't forget to subscribe to this channel and hit that bell icon so you can get instant updates whenever we post a new video. Thank you so much for watching, everyone. If you enjoyed this video, please smash that like button and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Oh, and please comment below with your favorite player for this NBA slate. I love to hear what you guys have to think. Thanks again, and good luck.